Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started. Welcome back to Alternative Investments Chat and Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season and that your 2026 is off to a great start.
Yeah.
The new year is all about fresh starts and hopefully getting a jump on some of your investment goals.
Exactly.
Hopefully that was on your resolution list. My resolutions are basically don't die.
Oh, great. That's a good one. Let's start there.
I figure that's a good one that so far I'm doing well.
You're killing it.
Yes, every year I make it through. I personally am hoping actually to invest in some real estate this year.
Yes.
Would love to buy a house. What about you? Do you have any money resolutions or investing goals you're trying to reach this year?
Well, speaking of real estate, I actually just purchased a home. So really my investment goals right now are just to save my money to recoup some of that. Because of course, when you move, it's very expensive. Purchasing a home is very expensive. So I'm hoping to feed my little piggy bank
back
to get
after
fat
you
again.
You crushed it, spent it all, but on something great.
On something good. Yes.
And it's a great future for you. And I know that's I'm excited to see what that house grows into. So this is actually perfectly ties into our topic for today, and that's high yield savings accounts, or HYSAs, if you're short on time. However, I feel like that just takes as long as high yield savings account, but whichever one makes you happy, guys, you do you, right? They may not feel like the fun kind of alternative investment we're normally talking about. There's no whiskey casks, no crypto roller coasters. But if you want your money to actually work while it sits safely in an easy access place, well, this is where all the magic happens.
Yeah, that's right. Now, savings accounts, you might be thinking this is a little bland, right? But one of the first steps that you can take actually towards making your money work for you is utilizing a savings account. And if you've ever worked with a financial planner or an advisor, one of the first things that they can help you do is figure out your income and your expenses and help put together maybe a budget for you. And most will suggest opening up a high yield savings account if you don't have one already. It's basically like the grown-up version of the piggy bank, but I do have a confession.
Oh, do tell.
So I actually didn't have a savings account until a few years ago.
I'm going to hit you with
I know. High yield or not, I didn't have one.
What the heck?
Yeah, I don't know how I did that or why I did that. It's one of those things, time just keeps coming. The years start coming and they don't stop coming.
All right.
And then all of a sudden you haven't had a savings account and you're 25.
Yeah.
But I just want to be honest with our listeners out here, because if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm super behind, I don't have a savings account set up, I don't know what this is. Don't worry. I was you not so long ago.
Well, I take back hitting you with my mug, since you did get one
I'm
set
being
up.
vulnerable here.
That's good news that it's really never too late to set up a savings account. I'm glad that you got one started up, and
Me too. It's going good.
They're really easy to set up, and that's the thing. But there is a difference between a regular savings account and a high yield savings account. So let's get into all of that.
Yes.
So a high yield savings account is a savings account, but with superpowers.
All right.
Okay. So it's still FDI insured, like your regular checking account, savings account.
FDIC.
What did I say?
FDI.
FDIC. There we go. Yeah. All the letters.
Too many letters.
It's letterly insured. How about that? It's lettered insured.
Too many letters.
It's still low risk. Still totally boring. In the most loving possible way ever. Except that the interest rates are dramatically higher than those old school savings account. So if your regular savings account are a dollar graveyard, high yield savings accounts is the garden where the dollar actually grows. And trust me, I learned this the hard way as well. I had a savings account for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
However,
was not high yield.
It was not a high yield one. And I remember I made 11 cents one time. And I was like, wow, what interest is that? Yes, I'm up to 11 cents now.
Right.
Before I was getting a penny.
Right.
Because I didn't know the difference. So again, when it comes to that regular savings account, you're giving your money a place safe to live. And these accounts are mostly offered from run-of-the-mill banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, all the other ones that you could
Bank with,
potentially,
yeah.
bank with. It's kind of like putting your money under the mattress, except with a little bit more security, I hope, and convenience. But much like leaving your dollar under the mattress, your money is stagnant. So if you just stick it underneath there, it just hanging out. It's not what I like to say reproducing. It's not getting any interest.
Yep.
It's not going to grow. And that's not fun.
Yeah.
So you don't really want to do that. So what about the high yield savings accounts? Is that just like the mattress? No. These are very, very similar. However, they come with much more like higher interest rates, as we just said. That's why they're called high yield.
High yield.
Sometimes even 8 to 15 times the interest rate that you get at a bank with regular savings account.
Is it
I
hot
know
in here?
those 11 pennies times that, it's almost like the coins inside your piggy bank figured out how to clone themselves. And when you finally crack it open, you're like, wait a second, I didn't realize there was this much in there.
Yeah.
Where'd these guys come from?
A pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
So it seems pretty obvious, I like money, you like money.
We all
like more money.
Yeah.
So why are people still using regular savings accounts? Well, there's still a few benefits to that type of account that they might have over high yield savings accounts. For example, since these accounts are offered through the mainstream banks, you can have in-person services that you have access to if you ever have a problem or need assistance. You can actually go to a physical place and figure out what you need. It can also be connected to your primary checking account if you need it, so you can rearrange, manage your money all in one place. You don't have multiple accounts that you have to log into, figure out what's in this one, what's in that one, whatever. You can see everything in one spot, which is nice. And also with a regular savings account, you can move that money over to your checking account instantly if you need it. It's pretty much like just move it on over. You don't really have to wait. And often you can do that utilizing an app, which is also super convenient.
Yeah. And sometimes these banks, I know that nowadays, if you have a checking account and a savings account, let's say you do like overdraw, they'll just pull from your savings account.
Yeah.
It's like instead of charging you. Not good that you overdrew your account, but it might be a nice little safety net. If you forget to do that quick transfer, you're like, whoops, I went a little crazy and bought myself a present and now I need to pay my electric bill.
Right. Bills are important.
Yes.
Let us remember that.
Yeah.
But like everything, there are pros and cons to high yield savings accounts. So let's start with the pros.
Yeah.
The biggest one is the higher returns. Duh, right? High yield savings accounts are often offered by online banks or credit unions. And a lot of these institutions don't have a customer-facing brick-and-mortar store that they have to maintain. And this means that they're able to save some money on overhead. Then they can contribute to higher rates to you because they're able to, save some money in the operations standpoint, and then they're able to pass on that savings to you in a way. And a lot of people don't realize this, but high-yield savings account are technically investments.
They are.
They're much lower risk than other investments like stock, like crypto, like real estate, etc. And we mentioned this earlier, but just like regular checking and savings accounts, high-yield savings accounts are also FDIC insured up to $250,000. So I'm sure we've all heard this phrase before, but let's actually say out loud, what is this? This means that if the bank fails, which is rare, but we've seen it happen. Hello, Great Depression. There's a reason that these things exist now. The FDIC will reimburse you dollar for dollar up to $250,000.
And like you mentioned, we like guarantees.
We do.
That makes us feel really good and warm and fuzzy on the inside. So a few more of those pros are it's pretty easy to access your funds with a high yield savings account. So your money isn't just locked in for a fixed term like those high yield CDs that in our another episode that we talk about. So you can just take the money out without any penalties if you need it. Like we were saying, oh, whoops, I bought myself a present and then I realized my electric bill was $300 and now I need to pull from my savings account. You can definitely do that. Ideally, you want to leave the money in that savings account alone as much as you possibly can so that it will help it grow. But if, again, those unexpected expenses do come up, it feels good knowing that you can like, all right, I'm going to take a little bit out just to cover my booty here, and then I'll put it back when I recoup that. And a lot of high yield savings accounts come with an ATM card, which is also a great perk. You don't have to actually, you can just go get the cash out right away if you need it. Not all of them do, however. So if this is a deal breaker for you, please make sure you are looking at what the banks provide when you are signing up for these.
Yep.
And then here's a perk that, of course, I feel like I really love, but I think everybody really loves, is that there are fewer fees. It's very, very common actually for a regular savings account to have a required minimum. And if you dip below that, fee.
Here's
fee.
Yeah. There's a fee. Yeah.
I'm like, this is my money. Don't tell me how little or how lot I can have of it. Leave me alone. No. Not with high yield savings account. Most high yield savings account have little to no fees and also low minimum balance required. Some of them have $0 balance. So these days it just feels like there's a fee for everything. So this is just absolutely music to my ears when I hear there's no fee.
Totally.
And then the one last perk that is more psychological than it is financial, since a high yield savings account isn't tied to your regular checking account, you might be less tempted to touch it and let the interest rate sink in. Like, again, it's over there.
Exactly.
It's over there.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about it.
I don't log in and see it.
Yes. And so, honestly, if I put something away or I can't see it, I usually forget about it. So I think that would really work for me.
Yeah.
And it does work for me because I do now have a high yield savings account.
Woo!
Everybody, I'm moving up in the world.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yes. Now let's look at the cons. And honestly, the list isn't super long, which is really refreshing. Yeah. Rates fluctuate, and if the Fed cuts rates, your high yield savings account rate also drops. You might be attracted to a rate you see and submit an application for an account, but this isn't a marriage certificate. This isn't a lifetime commitment. You're not going to be locking in that rate forever, more than likely. And also, this investment is not intended for long-term growth. You probably aren't going to retire with your high yield savings account interest that you're raking in. It often doesn't keep up with inflation too. So, that's something to consider. And they're really great for those short-term goals, like maybe you're wanting to save up for a down payment on a house. Maybe you have a wedding coming up. But they're not a replacement for actually investing. It's not going to be your entire retirement portfolio.
Yeah.
You should still aim for a diversified portfolio with some higher interest rates from some different investments to help balance that out and help grow your portfolio to where you actually want it to be.
If you're a little scared, this might be a great way to get it started.
Absolutely. Now, the rest of these drawbacks actually vary from high yield savings account to high yield savings account. Just totally depends. So my advice would be to figure out what matters most to you. And then from there, you can find a high yield savings account that makes the most sense based on the criteria that you have. So some have limits on how often you can withdraw money from the account. This might be a monthly limit. This might be a yearly limit. Just depends. Some also do not offer instant transfers. This means that if you are needing money to come from your high yield savings account into your checking account, that might take a few business days.
Yeah.
So if you're in an emergency situation, maybe you got into a car accident, maybe you have a flat tire, maybe you have a flood in your home and you're needing those funds, it's just not going to be instantaneous. Yeah. Some also don't offer ATM access like we mentioned, so keep an eye out for that. And some are also online only, meaning that customer support is all virtual. So if you're an in real life kind of person, then this might not be ideal for you.
Yeah. And high yield savings accounts, they've slowly but surely been gaining popularity over the years. And like most things in life, we can blame it on the internet, right?
Yeah, totally.
So the rise of online banking changed everything, as we kind of already mentioned. It seems crazy to think that of now, but we trust the internet, what we see online, but transactions weren't always that way.
No.
And there still are a lot of people that don't trust the online system. I know somebody, they had a check and they're like, I have to go to the bank to deposit this. I said, just deposit it on your app. Oh, no, I can't do that. I'm like, okay, whatever. They weren't comfortable with depositing the check. And I said, totally fine by me. Not my money going into your account. Do you, right?
Right.
So it took decades, though, for us to really feel comfortable entering all of our personal information and money into that computer screen. Online banking has roots dating back to the 80s, however. I don't know if people actually really know that.
Yeah.
So not only that, but the tech hasn't always been there to support the banking functions we needed. So it was just easier to do it in person.
Yeah.
So there was it was smaller. in the 80s. But now it's like I said, you can deposit checks, you can do almost everything
that you need to
do without going in. I think a lot of us would agree that doing it online is much easier and way more convenient than having to go into the physical bank. So high yield savings accounts basically build on that trust that we've already developed with the internet, and we're able to offer their services completely online.
Yeah.
I actually opened a high yield savings account from the comfort of my couch. It's
Yep.
where I love to do all of my, pajama trading.
Yep.
I didn't talk to a single person, and I personally liked it better that way. In fact, I opened up 2 high yield savings accounts because I rate shopped a little bit.
Cha-ching.
And I did both on the comfort of my wonderful couch with my nice blankie, a cocktail in hand.
Perfect.
I loved it.
That's my favorite
You
way
you can't go in your pajamas with your blanket and your cocktail into a bank.
Generally
Just saying.
frowned upon. But I totally feel the same way. If I can avoid waiting in a line or having to be on hold on the phone, that's a total win for me.
Yeah.
In fact, I try to see if I can do anything that I possibly can online first. Because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it.
I know.
But another potential contributor here is COVID. Yeah. COVID is like a cockroach. Every time you think you've squashed it, it's gone, it's done, just starts moving its little legs again. And you're like, oh, God. But, the pandemic actually forced all of us inside. We experienced that, and we had to figure out how to do our normal routines, but within the confines of our own home. People learned how to dye their own hair. People learned how to make bread. People learned how to bank from their couch.
I know.
And we relied on the internet more than ever before.
Right.
And high yield savings account totally thrive in that environment. And unlike brick and mortar banks that have buildings, they have staff, they have supplies that they have to worry about, being online, totally online during that time.
Easy peasy.
Super easy peasy.
I know.
Basically didn't change much of anything they did at all.
I can't wait till we cannot talk about COVID, but I think it's going to be like the plague. We're always going to have to talk about it for a while. So speaking of the internet, influencers are bringing awareness to high yield savings accounts as well. So social media has made high yield savings accounts seem trendy and exciting to potential new customers.
Cool.
So influencers like Vivian too, your rich BFF, who I do follow on Instagram, and Tori Dunlap, a financial feminist, have basically rebranded high yield savings accounts as the first step to financial empowerment, which again, if you're not at that level where you fully understand, trading on the stock market, and we don't really have the funds to do some of the alternative investments where you have to be an accredited investor, these are great ways to start. So Vivian, too, for example, has openly said that most people don't have an investment problem. They have a savings structure problem.
Yeah.
And high yield savings account can fix that, because I 100% agree with that. When you think of investing, you don't think of high yield savings account. You think of buying something or investing in something like a wine cast or something big.
Exciting. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be and it seems that influencing was successful. Hers was, as Gen Z is believed to be cash heavy.
Yeah.
Meaning that the majority of their assets are in cash as opposed to other investments. Again, they don't understand it. So listen to us. We're going to try to teach you. And don't get me wrong, savings is great. And I'm so happy that these young investors know about high yield savings accounts and are actually using them, you included. But like I said earlier, high yield savings accounts aren't one and done investment strategy.
Yep, totally. And, we would love to see Gen Z expanding into some of these other asset classes that are maybe a little bit more complex or, intriguing in order to diversify their portfolios. But, part of this being cash heavy among Gen Z can also be tied to Gen Z having financial worry, not just being uneducated about finances. In the 2025 Gen Z and Millennial survey from Deloitte, the top concern for the 4th year in a row is cost of living. Additionally, nearly half of Gen Z and millennials surveyed that actual report reported that they don't feel financially secure. That's a lot of people. So it makes sense if you're concerned about money, you probably aren't going to be investing in risky investments, and therefore high yield savings accounts are really attractive. And also, if you're worried about money, knowing that you can access your money at any time would make you feel a lot more comfortable about having that money there, because it's not like a CD or a private equity deal where your money is tied up for X amount of time and you can't touch it at all. And high yield savings accounts are great. We're not saying to drop them altogether, but maybe start exploring some other things that you could couple them with to help your money grow even more.
I like that. And high yield savings accounts, they're not going to make you rich. We already talked about that.
Yep.
When you look at the interest that you make on them, I think last year on my high yield savings accounts, I only made a few $100s, which is great because it's just sitting there.
It's extra few $100 you didn't have.
Exactly.
Nice.
And I still paid taxes on it. That's the cruddy part, but it's okay. I mean, it's not that much, but they can keep you stable. That's what we really, really like. Mm-hmm. And they're one of the easiest wins in personal finance, if you ask me. So they're safe, accessible, flexible, and they're really, really great for beginners.
Totally. And when they're paired with investing, they can become a foundational part of your actual entire strategy. Well, that's it for today's episode. But thank you for tuning in, and be sure to follow our podcast for more beginner-friendly breakdowns. We have a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And whether you're looking into savings accounts or crypto, there's probably an episode out there for you. But we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the Alternative Investments chat. See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.